Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the North Midlands Grand Final for 2024. Coming to you live on Filming Footy from Carnamah. James Gardner's my name, ready to call all the action between the Coorow, Latham Magpies and the Dongara Eagles. It's sure to be a cracking game. Beautiful day for football out here in Carnamah. If anything, on the warm side. The sun is out, little bit of breeze starting to flow through, but we are in near on perfect conditions for football. It's going to be a cracking game between the minor premiers, the Magpies. They had 11 wins, 3 losses and a draw. They advanced in the second semi-final with a very nice win over Three Springs, 15-13, 103 over the Bombers, who were runners-up from last year against Carnamah. Three Springs 12-6-78. They enter as favourites. They're up against Dongara, who really are the success story of the season. They were wooden spooners last year. They had just one win in season 2023. They now find themselves in the 50th anniversary of their football club in a grand final. They've been the success. They've ridden the momentum as we hear them now about to enter onto the ground. They finished fourth, 7 wins, 7 losses and a draw. They won the first semi-final, 110-93 over Carnamah Perenjuri, who were the reigning premiers heading into this season. They then won the prelim against the Bombers, 104-72. As I mentioned, the wooden spooners from last year. Plenty of support for the Eagles as they make their way onto the Carnamah Recreation Ground here today. A lot of fans in support of the Eagles. They won the Nippers earlier today over the Bombers. The Nippers are the junior sides. That's now their 3rd consecutive flag in the Nippers, so well done to the Eagles. And now the big fellas will go at it, led by Dale Williamson, who has kicked 48 goals this year from 12 games, averaging 4 goals a game. He's formerly from the GNFL in the Brigades Football Club. He's the leading goal scorer, the record holder most goals kicked in the GNFL. He's come down to Dongara and he has really led this lineup. Along with him, other players to look out for the Eagles. Leroy Hall, very good, handy player. Nathan Barrett, also good. Brendan Davis, Jeremy Bedford up forward will be handy. Lester Drummond joins Dale Williamson in the up forward. And Sam Coker, the skipper, in the 6, led them out today. In previous encounters, well, if the previous encounters are anything to go by, we are in for a cracking game today, folks. You don't want to go anywhere. In round 11, it was Coorow Latham, 93-63, a 5-goal margin there. In round 6, Dongara were big winners over the Magpies, 103-39. And then in round 1, the draw, 67 apiece. They could not be split after the 4 quarters of football, and they shared the points there. For the Magpies, players to look out for, Rayan Cox. He comes in, though, with a little bit of a shoulder concern, the left shoulder. He's kicked, though, 42 goals for the season. Second in the leading goal scorers behind Williamson of the Eagles, and Tyler Hupping as well with 34 goals. They last won a flag in 2022. They're led by Reece Johns, the captain. Shannon McLean, a handy player, along with Matthew and Laurie both as well. They've won 8 flags. Their last was in 2022. For Dongara, they've won 6 flags. 2029 was their last premiership. And as I mentioned, wooden spooners from last year, but it is a massive year for the Dongara Football Club, celebrating what is their 50th season. They've gone all in to win this premiership, but it is a huge milestone for them to even be here today after winning just 1 game last season, as I mentioned, to now on the verge of a premiership. It would be extraordinary if the Eagles were able to get up today. Driving down this morning, there were trees lined with signs celebrating the Eagles, congratulating the Eagles, wishing them well. There were balloons tied up to trees. There were signs and posters everywhere. We've got the hockey and the netball occurring just to the right of us behind the recreation centre, where there's a lot of players gathered. We've got an ice cream truck in front of us, plenty of people lining up. I'll be down there probably at half time to try and cool myself down because it is warm today. Hovering at around 21 degrees, but I reckon it'd feel a little hotter. It feels more like 23, 24. There's a little bit of breeze starting to whip through, favouring the left of screen, which is the northern end of Carnamah here for the North Midlands Grand Final in 2024. There's a couple of sprayers flying over the top of us, lots of farmlands right around. It's a beautiful region. If you ever get the chance, come down because it's wildflower country down here in the North Midlands as we prepare for the pre-match ceremonies, including the toss of the coin. And we're not far away at all from a start between the Magpies and the Eagles. Bounce down scheduled for 2:30. The players and umpires are now in the centre of the ground, and we'll await for the national anthem and the toss of the coin here at Carnamah. There's a national anthem, all done and dusted. A cheer from the crowd. Lots of cars lined around as the 2 skippers meet in the middle. Sam Coker for the Eagles, while for the Magpies it's Reece Johns, one of their better players, as well as the coins spun in the air. There is a slight breeze favouring the left of screen, which Johns elects to go to. In the first quarter, the Coorow Latham Magpies have won the toss. They'll be kicking to the left of screen in the opening term. In the North Midlands, we have full time on, 20 minutes plus time on, so expect pretty long quarters throughout today. Hopefully high-scoring contest. Lots of fans around. We've got the hockey on the far field, which you may be able to see in the background. The netball to the right of us below. As the teams begin to break from their huddles, we now prepare for the 2024 North Midlands Football League Grand Final here on Filming Footy. Sure to be a cracking contest. The Magpies, they enter as favourites. They were the minor premiers in pursuit of their first flag since 2022. Dongara, well, they've been the revelations this season. Wooden Spooners last year, finished 4th. They've ridden the momentum, defeated Carnamah Perenjori in the first semi. They defeated 3 springs last weekend in the prelim final. Now they find themselves on grand final day with just one team standing in between them and the premiership of 2024. In the ruck, Nathan Borrett for the Eagles. On the wing here, James Warden will line up against Wade Parker. In the middle, Aiden D'Souza up against Clay O'Brien for the Eagles. It's sure to be a super contest. Dale Williamson lines up in the goal square at full forward. An open forward line for him. The Magpies leaving their forward line well open with 3 or 4 deep forwards. The grand final in 2024 is underway and it's slapped forward by Riley. The Magpies will get the first foray forward. At left half forward for the Magpies, who won the toss and elected to kick to the northern end of Carnamar. Going to the left of screen, where there is a little breeze favouring them as the ruckman tussle again. It's knocked to the back by Borrett, trying to work his way through to D'Souza. Got the handball away. Connor with the clearing kick inboard, and a nice mark taken on the lead by Both. He plays on, slaps around, and he kicks it. First blood to the Magpies, courtesy of Laurie Both. Reward for effort. And they get first blood inside the first minute. The Magpies, 6 straight, while Dongara are yet to score. We've played just over a minute here on Filming Footy, the first quarter in the North Midlands Football League Grand Final for 2024. Just repeat entries from the Magpies became too much. A nice classy finish there from Laurie Both. And they are on the board. Need to start getting their hands on the football early, the Eagles, through the middle of the ground, where the restart will occur. Slap forward by Riley, who's already having a bit of a say. It's D'Souza who's wrapped up, and Moran, who will get the free kick. Defensive side of centre, puts it to half forward, out on the lead. Nice mark taken by Both. The first goal scorer of the grand final for 2024. He goes short inside 50, out on the lead, picked up off the half volley, will spin around and put it into space. Out in front for his teammate there in Stone to run onto, flicked it over the top, trying to dance his way around, and scoring was Connor, who gets a second. Back-to-back goals for the Magpies. Connor this time gets in on the act, courtesy of a very nice snap-on goal. And they've had a very impressive start to this game. 2 straight to nothing, 2.5 gone in the first quarter. The Coorow Latham Magpies showing why they enter as favourites and as minor premiers. Repeat inside 50s. Yet to get inside the forward half for Dongara in the opening couple of minutes. Can they win this clearance? Riley again with the hit back. D'Souza worked his way through. His hands were a little wayward though as Dongara go forward to right half forward. They had the mark in front. Trying to paddle it in front was McGuinness. Then caught. Looking for Drummond, who flew against 3. Knocks to the front. Bedford's there. Throws it on the left. Looking for Williamson. Took front position. Was knocked away. Well defended by the Magpies, who relieve it now away. And Moran can take the mark at a true centre-half back position. He goes wide to the outer side in front of the scoreboard. And they're able to now control a little bit of possession with a handy 2-goal lead, the Magpies. It's in the hands of Farmer. Goes to centre wing. It's a one-on-one contest. Stone was the representative and it got past him and he won it. Puts it to right half forward. On the lead was Cox. He takes a nice sliding mark. Wants to roll on immediately. Looking for Comma. He's there. The boundary line is also. And the ladder wins as it rolls over and out. We'll get an inside 50 stoppage. In fact, it goes out of bounds on the full. And it's going to be in the hands of Sam Coker, the skipper for the Eagles, who's led them so gallantly throughout 2024. He goes to the outer side. It's knocked to the front of the contest. Hall parted the seas, gave it to Sanders, who's then caught immediately holding the ball. The Magpies are going to get another inside 50 entrance. Out on the lead, the sliding mark taken by Hupping. Directly in front, great forward craft, too much space in front of him. Caught on the back foot was his direct opponent in Biggs, who could not do anything but stand and watch as his direct opponent slid in and took the mark, Rayan Cox. He's kicked 42 goals this season, and this would be for a white-hot start for the Magpies. On a slight angle, 45 metres out from goal. Cox just inside 50. It's away to the left. It's going to fade. It's marked inside the field of play, though. It's not quite. Thought from here it did, but the boundary umpire had other ideas as the Eagles get out of jail there. The kick came away looking for Borrett, but it was far too close to the boundary line for his liking. As it rolls over and out, we'll get a stoppage at left half forward for the Magpies, just in front of our commentary box. Spectacular view here at Carnamah. Beautiful day for football. Got over the back of both ruckmen. Borrett was there to try and scrap his way through. He got his own clearance, handed it to Warden. On the right, it's a scrubby old kick forward to centre wing. The boundary line is becoming a factor. It's kept in play, though. And we'll get a throw in. Centre wing, broadcast side, in front of a pretty full pavilion here at Carnamah. A lot of fans out in force for both sides, as we'll get another stoppage after it's walked over. 2 goals straight for Coorow to begin this first term. We've played almost 6.5 minutes here in the first quarter. Gets over the back of both ruckmen, a little too much on it. Fell into the arms of McLean. He tumbled it forward, possibly pushed in the back. Play on, said the umpire. Cox thought he was infringed. Biggs relieves it away into the middle of Carnamah. There's numbers with the Magpies and the numbers win out. Conley flicked it back. D'Souza weaved through a bit of traffic, gave it to Riley. His hands were affected by some good pressure from the Eagles. Warden there. There's been a free kick and it's a throw paid away to Phillips. He has it at centre half forward, goes into the pocket. Williamson will sit under it. Play on, said the umpire. Possibly was pushed in the back. Play on it, fell to Drummond. He tried to tap it in front of him. It's 3-on-1 in favour of the Eagles, but the Magpies have done well to lock this ball up, and we'll get a stoppage just in front of the scoreboard here at Carnamah. Dongara, after losing the toss, kicking to the right of screen here in this first term on Filming Footy. Great to have your company wherever you are around Australia or the world. It's tumbled forward. Sanders will try and relieve it. Caught under pressure. Good tackle there by Mogridge, who gets the free kick for holding the ball. The pressure of the Magpies has been elite through this opening quarter, and the kick was delightful to Comma. Out on the lead, didn't have to break stride. Rolls around onto the right, puts it in the path of Cox. Was knocked away from him, landed like a cat. Knocked away, the ball still trapped in possession. Tapped out of there, and Stewart tries to relieve it. His kick was ricocheted, although it works out okay for the Eagles. Warden was left all alone on this broadcast side. He's got absolutely nothing to go to. Instead, he puts it to grass. Almost wants the boundary line. He's going to get close to one-on-one contest. Little toe poke forward was clever by McLean to not only get the territory, but also the line. We'll get a throw in just in front of our commentary box, which sits above the Dongara. Looking for a few answers 8.5 minutes into this first term. Warden took front position. It's knocked towards the boundary line. First on the scene was D'Souza, who was caught without it. One of their better players, Aiden D'Souza, goes inside. Sandals is there to chop it off, though, for the Eagles, and he'll want to bounce. The Shepherd was laid. He had to stop and prop. Handed it over to Rukia. Handed it back to Sandals. They've got nowhere to go at the moment, the Eagles. Sandals has a case of the fumbles. Eventually able to take clean possession. Goes to half forward. And in front, the defensive mark taken by McLean. Well read by Shannon McLean, who will now be able to send the Magpies back into attack. They just haven't been able to penetrate past half forward yet, the Eagles. Back inside forward 50. Cox was there, got past him, handed over the top. Keith's there, can run onto it, snap on goal. He misses, it's knocked through for a minor score. The first little win for the Eagles as the scoreboard rolls over to read 2-1-13 in favour of Coorow. No score so far for the Eagles. 9.5 minutes gone in the first quarter. Into the back pocket they head with Borrett. He wants to bite off a dangerous looking kick. Warden was up to the challenge though. Takes the mark. They still haven't been able to gain any real territory yet though, the Eagles. Deep inside defence where the ball has lived as Farmer floats across and takes a nice mark. He's going to put them back inside 50. They're lining up for it at the moment, the Magpies. And the lucky winner of the raffle was Burley, who then puts it into Cox, left unmarked, all alone. Takes the mark directly in front, 30-odd metres out from goal. In fact, Hupping takes the mark. Left all alone, unmarked by Warden. And he'll go back now to add to his tally of 34 goals for the season. If he kicks this, things start to get a little ugly for the Eagles, particularly the ease at which they're kicking it. Hupping sets sail. The kick didn't look good off the boot, and it's away and missing to the right. Making the most of the advantageous conditions for the Magpies. Slight breeze to the left of screen, to which Coorow are kicking in this first term. From the kick in with Marsden, goes wide to a one-on-one. Stone was there for Coorow and then able to lock up and get a stoppage. Ball is living in the forward half of Coorow. Just the 2 inside 50s so far for the Eagles and no marks inside 50 to speak of just yet for Dongara. As the ball is again locked up, although it comes away. Warden wants a stoppage. Sandals extracted it away. He wants to bounce off half-back. D'Souza was in the way, though. Read it like a book. Couldn't quite take clean possession at the moment. It opens the door for the Eagles as Phillips tries to butt away from him and then puts it to half forward where Cox takes the mark, puts it inside 50 again, and on the best of Burley, who takes the mark almost directly in front, top of the goal square. And this for a very nice start for Coorow. Matthew Burley takes the mark. Their 5th shot at goal for today. They've kicked 2-2. You feel 1 or 2 goals here before quarter time could almost break the back of the Eagles early. Burley on the approach for the Maggies. 3rd, he's got it! He's missing, and it's through for a behind, missing to the near side. Looks pretty good off the boot. From where we are, it looked like it went straight over the goal umpire's hat. Goal umpire didn't move. Instead, just signalled the 15 points. Dongara breathing a sigh of relief so far, although you feel the dam wall will eventually break. Jones slapped it forward. Hill was there. Stood tall in the contest, got the hands free. Sandals tried to work his way through. D'Souza's had a hot start, caught hot in the ball. 2 goals to 1 too many. And Sandals wraps him up, wants the switch inside. Overcooked this kick slightly, looking for Taylor. Now into a bit of trouble from Turner. Clean pick up, tried to evade his opponent there in Taylor. Did so eventually, then handed it back. Bedford was clever, kept it in front of him. Paddled toward Williamson, turns around, goes inside, almost off the half volley. Standing tall, he did well there. Don't have the number 30, but he handed it back. Taylor tried to work his way through, holding the ball called. And it's against Taylor, going the way of Coorow. Every time Dongara have gone forward, Coorow have had the answers so far. As they go wide to the outer side, Coker kept it in front, knocked it away from the contest, rebounded well, puts it to half forward, out on the lead, mark taken. It was a nice one indeed to Damien Taylor, who just had a couple of extra metres of space in front of him. Goes short to Phillips, who's in a better spot. Still outside 50, goes short, nice mark taken on the lead. And this is now Dylan Phillips, who will go back for a shot on goal. Right behind this kick here from Dylan Phillips for what will be the Eagles' first of today. And they need this to get it to a 9-point margin and one against the grain. It's never looked likely off the side of the boot, missing to the right. So the first score on the board for the Eagles, but it's not the major they would have hoped for. One behind only, trailing by 14 points. 2-3-15 plays one behind. 15, nearly 16 minutes gone here in the first quarter in the North Midlands Grand Final for 2024. Can Dongara get a little bit of time inside 50 with some repeat entries over the back? Cox did well, read it best, puts it inside 50. One-on-ones ahead of the footy. Wanting to get out the back was Burley. Standing tall in front though and doing well was Stewart, but they're not out of jail just yet, the Eagles. Knocked forward, Greengrass ahead of Stone. He can gather if he can. But in the end, on the goal line, waltzing through his comma to get his second and 3 straight goals for the Magpies. Coast-to-coast football, they take a 20-point lead. This is a hot start for the Magpies. 21 plays 1. Nearly 17 minutes gone in the first term here on Filming Footy in the 2024 North Midlands Football League Grand Final. Just too much pressure at the moment on the Dongara defence. That the dam wall starting to break. 20 points the margin. They would love a late one here. D'Souza's kick came off the side of the boot. Hall was there for the Eagles. Puts it out wide and a nice mark taken by Marsden, who had time to stop and prop and then roll and go. Inside 50 he heads and chopping it off well was McLean, who read it better than all of them. Defensive 50 for the Magpies, kicking to the northern end of Carnamar. A nice booming kick from McLean. It will scoot out the back. Mogridge was there. Handed it back in turn. Moran able to bounce. Inside 50 it heads. Bouncing ball. Cox ran through. Hit it best. Will roll around onto the left and put it to the top of the goal square where the was taken by Hupping. Hands it back. D'Souza's in on the action. No, he's not. He's missing. Just too unselfish there from Hupping. In the end, D'Souza was just running too quick and didn't compose himself. And yet again, Dongara get out of jail. 3, 4, could easily be 7 straight with the kicks on goal that Coorow have had. And it doesn't get much better for them. It's through the hands of Wharton, although and Coorow were able to respond. Burley high up and under ball. Coker, the only one that was ever going to mark that. Takes the mark. Left half back for the Eagles. Sticking down this broadcast side of the ground. Goes short, off hands. Trying to get it clear as it's pumped back in by Jones and then floating back in defence. Nice mark taken there for Dongara. So Hall has it out wide. Then goes short, although the kick wasn't a great one, and now they're able to bounce yet again. Riley had the original intercept possession, handed it back to Hall, who then went back to Phillips. There's been a throw going the way of the Magpies. And it's with Mogridge. Wants to go short and put it into the path. A delightful looking kick. Perfectly weighted. There's no way that Hupping was ever going to stop that, as he'll go back and have a shot on goal for his first. Already kicked to behind today, Tyler Hupping, one of the key forwards for the Magpies, off the back of a beautiful kick forward by Mogridge. Dead in front, no excuses from here, you wouldn't think. On the approach, Hupping leans back slightly, it holds its line and it's missing. Way to the right, just leaned back a little too much. And so another behind. 5 behinds now for Coorow Latham. 3-5 to 1 behind as we enter time on in the first quarter. Getting really lucky here, the Eagles, to only be 22 points behind. The ball has lived in the forward half of Coorow. They've been able to hold up pretty well. To the outer side they go. Hill was at the front. It came to the back. Hall was there in support. He's going to run away with it, put it out in the path with a nice looking kick to Phillips, who run. He'll take a bounce. Possibly took on one too many. Got the handball away just in time. But it's all numbers back there for the Magpies with McLean, who goes short to centre wing. And the mark taken by Moran. Moran goes to a 2-on-1. It's a dangerous ball. Warden was at the front, knocked it to his feet. Trying to bounce away was Bo Phillips, did so successfully, got the handball away just in the nick of time. Able to work his way through was Bedford, handed it to the runner, and then he was caught in turn. And that was Tom Wheeler, who was caught holding the ball. Another free kick for the Magpies. Coming out like a freight train was Cox. Nearly cleaned up his direct opponent, but it works out okay for the Magpies with a shot on goal from Comma, who kicks his third. Comma has 3. And Coorow are rolling here in the first term. That's their 4th goal, 4-5-29 to Dongara, 1 behind. Comma has kicked the last 3 for the Magpies, who are starting to put Dongara to the sword. 22 minutes gone in the first quarter. Desperately need a response here, Dongara. And they need to do something about Nick Comma, who has kicked 3 already in this first term. Kicked the last 3 himself, Comma. 4 for Coorow. Out wide with Borrett. He takes a bounce, looking for Williamson. He's got 2 to beat. Did well, Dale. Got his own crumb. Then from 50, loads up. Is this the way to kickstart the Eagles? Out the back. Hill takes the mark. Plays on. The Eagles have their first. And a much needed one at that with Callan Hill to cut the margin to 22. A fast response as well at the 23-minute mark of the first term. Breaks a run of 4 goals for Coorow. And young Callan Hill on the goal line takes the mark, plays on, and gets the goal. He's back in the ruck now, but he was beaten on that occasion by Riley, who got it to De Souza. To right half 40 heads. Beat the initial 1-on-1 contest. Dylan Phillips was there at the back, had time to assess his options, and then go short to Hall. Hall then wants to get the extreme switch, although the kick wasn't great. Sets a task for Warden. He needs a clean possession. The boundary line is there. He goes short to where it came with Leroy Hall, who then goes short up on the lead. Nice mark taken by Taylor. Plays on. Looks for the option there in Mogridge was delightful. Coorow pulling out all the stops and Dongara with no answers so far. As now Isaiah Mogridge will look to get in on the action for Coorow's 5th goal in the first term, and to end any momentum that Dongara were building. Mogridge's kick's not going to make the distance. It's off hands through for the minor score. A collective sigh of relief from all the Dongara fans. Were just let out then right around Carnamah Recreation Ground because that was a massive let-off. Can they get a score of their own before half-time? It's out wide. Briggs is there, knocked it to the front. Little toe poke forward. Borrett tried to work his way through. Hill was caught by a couple of Magpies. Get a ball up. Attacking side of centre. On the outer side for Coorow, who won the toss and elected to kick to the left of screen. And it's been a nice start for them so far. They're back inside 50. Hupping was there in a one-on-one contest. It gets out the back of the maul toward the boundary line. Socket along the deck. They gain a little bit of territory here, the Eagles. And then in front was Davis. Wanted the line. Found it. Ward up against Briggs in that last contest. Both were content to see it go over and out. Beats both ruckmen again. Bedford was there for the Eagles, but D'Souza, just too much class. Got it to Riley, who slams it on the left. Out in front, trying to rebound away. Can they get something happening here, the Eagles? They're just unable to get any real flow or turnover game going. Bedford with a heavy hit from the back on Jones. Knocks to the front. Burley with their hands away. It was okay to then lock it up and then get another stoppage. About 52 metres out from goal for Coorow as we wind around toward the first change. Holding the ball called against McGuinness. Mogridge with the free kick. As the siren sounds for quarter time, currently stands at a 23-point margin. And now Isaiah Mogridge for his first and Coorow's 5th right on the siren for quarter time. He's going to go to Barrett. Three, both with the first of the day, and Callan Hill kicking one at the 23-minute mark for Dongara to get them within 23 points of Coorow. At quarter time, it's Coorow Latham 4-6-30 to Dongara 1-1-7. We'll take a quick break and be back with more after this.
So we got someone coming in for second quarter.
Welcome back to Grand Final Day here in the North Midlands Football League, and at quarter time, reading if you're a Coorow supporter. 4-6-30 the Magpies lead to the Eagles 1-1-7. James Gardner in the commentary box, a 23-point margin in favour of the Magpies, courtesy of a fast start early. They kicked the first 4 goals at within the first minute, with both. Comma kicked 3 at the 2.5, 17 and 20. Great to have your company wherever you are around the globe. Slapped forward by Hill, but it's extracted away by Coorow yet again. Moran did a 360 spin, gave it to D'Souza. Been one of the better players so far, D'Souza. He handed it back in turn, and they're able to relieve it away with McLean. Puts it toward the broadcast wing. One-on-one contest, it's a pretty good one as well. Wheeler was there, but he was beaten by Stone, who then just a nice little chipping kick, overcooked it slightly, went over the head of Cox. Back in defence, Dongara, they've been under pressure just about all day today. It's lived in the forward half of Coorow. Wrapped up, got their hands away. Wheeler did well. Sandals wants to bounce away off half-back. Took one bounce, looks for options further afield. He overcooked the kick badly. Burnt it as McLean takes the defensive mark at centre half-back. He goes wide to Riley, who's been the dominant ruckman today for the Magpies, who goes short to left half forward. It's knocked away from the intended target. Sandals is there with Coker in support. He's wrapped up. We'll get a stoppage. Forward half for Coorow. Latham kicking to the right of screen here in the second term. Beautiful day for football. Picturesque ground. Great day for country footy as Moran gets the clearance away on the left. Out in front, Hupping did well to trap it in front of him. Phillips, he's been strong in defence, been one of the shining lights back there as he chips it away to Sandals. On the outer side, just in front of the scoreboard, goes to a one-on-one. A searing ball, rather there's Stone, but then a searing ball forward and a nice mark taken by Hupping, who goes forward and Cox takes the mark. Rayan Cox, off the back of some very nice ball movement from the Maggies, takes the sliding mark. 30 from goal, or 25 from goal, on a 45-degree angle. We are going to be right behind this kick from Cox. Kicked 42 goals this season, yet to get one today. .36 plays 7, 3 minutes gone, second term. Here on Filming Footy, beautiful ball movement, particularly from Blair Stone, who got it from D'Souza and then just seared it on the chest of Hupping, and then Cox was able to finish off all the good work yet again. They've been able to get their hands on it first, as always, throughout today. Coorow have mainly had it all their own way through the middle of the ground and off half-back. Haven't been able to get any penetration from defensive 50 Dongara, although they get the clearance and a nice mark taken by Corrick. Who then looks inside and spots Sandals, who slipped out the back of his opponent in Mogridge. And for a fast reply, a chance for River Sandals to just get it back to this 23-point margin, which was held by Coorow at quarter time. Sandals in front of goal. Slight breeze as he's at his back, gets it. Dongara straight back. And they get it back to 23 points. Nice finish from River Sandals. His first of today joins Callan Hill, so the two youngsters, two of the younger players for Dongara with goals. 4.5. Trying to work his way through again was Sandals. The last goal kicker came out the back. Bedford screwed it around on the right. Talented young critter puts it to right, half forward. Keeping it in front of him was McLean. Wanted the cavalry to arrive with Farmer, although he was put under pressure. Handball over the back was clever from Phillips. Out on the outer side it heads. Sandals, part of the seas, handed it back to Phillips. He goes back in turn looking for Davis. Handball's a little too hot for him. Got out the back and then screwing it around was McLean. To the middle of Carnamara it heads. Moran, it sat nicely for him. He goes over the top. Crower, already with 3 today, puts it inside 50. Hupping is there, tries to knock it in front. Did well. And then knocks it back and putting it back inside 50 is Stone to the top of the goal square, possibly manhandled out the back. Was comma, play on, said the umpire, and it goes wide and Coker can relieve the Eagles away at left half back. Goes short to Sandals, who assesses the options. It's a dangerous looking ball to Borrett. The kick had to be good, it was in the end. Not a whole lot of movement ahead of the ball. Lots of players congregating on centre wing, the outer side, and that's where he heads. It got over the back of the initial one-on-one contest with Hill. Bedford won the ball back, tried to get through, one too many, caught holding the ball. He'll get the free kick rather for a high tackle. Jeremy Bedford at centre wing, neutral territory on the outer side. Rolls to right half forward. Williamson came from 3 deep, had a few ahead of him. It was knocked away from him. D'Souza cleverly kept in front of him with a fancy bit of footwork. Got it back and then put it over the top. Set a task for Comma. He had to beat Coker and couldn't. Back inside 50 for the Eagles. First time they've had repeat inside 50s today. Phillips handed it back. Kepler tried to get the ball moving forward. The pressure just too much from the Magpies as they come away with Regan. Andy Regan, the kick sloppy. It's wide of Comma, who isn't impressed as it rolls over and out. And we'll get a boundary thrown in front of the Dongara bench. Left half forward for Dongara, kicking to the left of screen in this second quarter. Slight breeze favouring that end as Hall gets the clearance, puts it out in front. Nice mark taken by Corrick on the chest. Rolls around from 50. Jamie Corrick, can this kick start them? It's away, missing to the left. Just a little too much bend. But the Eagles are starting to even things up in general play. Can they get some reward on the scoreboard? We wait for the kick in. Not a whole lot of movement ahead of the footy, so they go wide and over the back. Nice mark taken by Regan. Flew from the side and he had a few to beat. He beat him, and then a nice mark to Pressure from Coorow has been electric so far today. Holt without the man. Free kick coming back to Davis. Rolled around. Looking for Williamson, who came out from the goal square. He had space in front of him. Standing in the way, though, was Riley, who did well. Handed back. Holding the ball called. Good tackle applied there from Bo Phillips. And he's got a 50-metre penalty for his trouble after Zavera Riley gave away the 50-metre penalty. Phillips will now be marched to the goal line and we'll get back-to-back goals for the Eagles. And they'll be within a couple of goals after this kick from Phillips. Never in doubt. Made a certainty of it. Plenty of support for Dongara in this grand final. And the Dongara fans right around the ground want to show their appreciation as Dongara get their third on the board. They move to 20. They trail by 16. 5-6-36 plays 3-2-20. 10 minutes gone here in the second quarter on Filming Footy. An important goal as they start to get rolling a little bit, Dongara. They had the game back on their terms, and in general play it was pretty even. Now they're starting to get reward on the scoreboard. Can they add a third in a row? Cesora has other ideas. Umpire called advantage. It'll be called back. DeZoza gets the free kick for holding the ball against Clay O'Brien. Chance for a fast reply. Goes wide looking for Cox, who takes the mark and then rolls immediately. Searing ball forward, hopping on hands and knees, takes it just inches away from the surface. Takes the mark directly in front, and for a player of his calibre, Tyler Hupping, this should be no trouble, although the braces started to just increase a little bit. Here, and again, Dongara are let off a little too easy. They're 7th behind Coorow. Leading it by 17 points. Easily be more. Sandals, the intended target, came away to Coker. They're able to link up with hands now, the Eagles. They're getting their turnover game going. Going short and looking for Broad. It was knocked away to the back of him. Kick ricocheted was good. Both. He was okay, though, to get the ball free to Comley, who then goes to left half forward, out the back. Mogridge collects, goes back into trouble. A little bit of a silly mistake there from the Magpies as it spills wide out the side door. McGuinness did well, and they can almost relieve it and breathe a sigh of relief as Phillips collects. Handed it to Bedford. He was penned up against the boundary line. Screws it back in. Courage personified by Wharton. Well done, going back with the flight, taking the mark on centre wing to right half forward. Corrick takes it, plays on immediately, spots up Williamson, knocked away from him, just can't get his mitts on it so far today, Big Dale. Knocked away, and Coorow again, their defence has been stellar so far today, but it's going to come back with Wharton. And with a little bit of interest, Williamson has 3 hanging off him, stood in the middle of the contest, spills to the front. And the mark's been paid to Williamson. First meaningful touch for Big Dale in this grand final. He's kicked 48 goals from 20. At quarter time, they have come storming back with 3 straight goals to Sandals, Phillips and now Williamson. And at the 14-minute mark, they are right in this game. The left of screen seeming to be the scoring end in this grand final. The breeze is favouring that end. But this has been an extraordinary turnaround from the Eagles as they're going to get another stoppage in the middle of the ground. They're definitely getting on top through the middle of the ground, and that's where the dominance of the Eagles has lied, and their rebound game as well is starting to look impressive when they get the chain of handballs. They look hard to stop. Hill climbed high, got the palm down, crumbed his own ball, handed it to Bedford, screwed it around the body. Towards half forward, the bounce is vital here. It favoured the Eagles as it gets to the back. Sandals pounced on it, wanted Williamson, kick ricocheted, first onto it, Broad, back into Williamson, went for the slide tackle instead, handed it back looking for Sandals. Broad with strength, stayed clear in the contest, gave it away to Sandals. He in turn was good to Davis. He gave it to Phillips, shrugged the tackle. Was he taken high? He was. Free kick for Bo Phillips. He's already kicked one in this second term. It was the second of 3 in this quarter. So since Cox's goal at the 3-minute mark of the this quarter, they were up by 29 goals, Coorow. This to put it to 5 points. Phillips, kick on its way, misses. But they definitely have the momentum here, Dongara. 15 minutes gone in the second term here on Filming Footy. Hope you're enjoying this as much as I am, because this is a cracking game of country football here in the North Midlands. Warden came late, but strong hands from both were good at left half back. Wants the options to come towards him as he tight ropes the boundary line, keeping it close towards the Dongara bench. Gets over the back of the initial contest. Lots of players around this, good representation. One of them was Comma, tried to soccer it in front, wanted the line, finds it, not happy with his effort. Sam Coker, worse for wear, getting up, eventually up now, limping toward the defence. Back up, running almost into a full stride as the ball's tossed back into play. Momentum that the Eagles are starting to build, trying to cruise his way through. It's both. That's Laurie. He couldn't get through, and we'll get another stoppage. Cox had it and then lost it, went back in to try and retrieve it. Knocked away, Hupping, stood tall rather Mogridge. Threw it on the boot, out wide. They've got numbers aplenty. One of them is Comma against the boundary line. Surely not from there. Oh, you bet. Nick Comma has confer and double check things. It's a behind. Touched on the line. Great set on the last line there from Coorow. Much needed behind as well, because if Williamson had to kick that, then it would have made things a little more interesting. Possibly a slam tackle there from Borrett against both. The umpire wasn't having any of it. As the sun disappears for a little bit and the wind starts to pick up, favouring the left of screen here at Carnamah. Thrown back up into play. Bedford tried to track his way through. Both was there to block his run. Jones screws it around the corner and off the shin of Stone. Over and out. Officially entered time on now in the second quarter. And it's a handy lead for the Magpies. They get the clearance again to a 2-on-1. Sandals to the front like he has all day. Then puts it on to the right to half forward. Sets a task for Davis. He's got one to beat and that's Turner. Turner's done well to at least halve the contest. Waited for the cavalry to arrive. They do, as players from both sides swarm. And the umpire's there to relieve all pressure. And we'll get a stoppage about 52 metres out from goal for Dongara, who would love at least one more before half-time to really cut this lead back. 15 points the current margin. Free kick to Drummond. Wants to play on and put it inside 50. It's off hands. Play on, said the umpire. So it falls short. Now they're under a bit of pressure for the first time today. The Magpies locked up. How does the umpire see this? Holding the ball in favour of Coorow. To both. This time Jackson, the recipient of the free kick. He's been good so far down back. Jackson both. The kick probably let him down slightly. Sandals was at the front. Free kick paid. Going back to River Sandals, who's kicked a goal along with probably at least 20 touches today. Sandals called his name a lot as Williamson comes through from the top of the square. He couldn't hold on to the mark. Off the deck. Williamson followed up his good work with a soccer towards goal. It dribbles through the behind line. And it's 1 point only. 4-4. 4-5 now, 29. Plays 6-7-43, but we have a game on our hands after a fast start for Coorow in the first term. Dongara have owned this second quarter. That free kick was paid, roaring appreciation, as Sam Coker will be marched to the goal line and will kick Dongara's fifth to cap off what has been so far a very good second term. Dongara charging. Coker makes a sure thing of it. We're down to 8 points after at 1 point at the 3-minute mark of this second term when Cox kicked a goal. To centre wing it heads. Coker was over the back. It won't carry to him. Standing in the middle of it all. The mark is taken. This time by Moran, who goes short to Mogridge. Who then plays on to right half forward, 2-on-1 in favour of the Eagles. Knock to the front. Stone bustling his way through with a kick toward goal. Then out of the mid-air, a Jackie Chan style kick on goal as it's missing toward the right. So luck in the favour of the Eagles, you would think. The amount of scoring opportunities that Coorow have had here at Carnamah, they could have really extended this lead out. Instead, it stands at just 9 points. As I mentioned, at the 3-minute mark of this second term, they were out by as many as 29 points. Now down to just 9. The Eagles have certainly owned this quarter of football. The outer side is where the ball has stayed for most of the game. Coker gobbles it up. Does he look to switch? He does have options. He does. It's a dangerous looking ball. Little too much hangs on there for Taylor. But he was able to get the free kick after a chop of the arms came from Burley. He switches it wide, wants Borrett. The bounce was kind. Then able to stop and prop and wait for Hall to get clear. He does at left half forward. Williamson, left alone, had plenty of space. Out in front, takes the mark. And Dale Williamson will go back to trim the margin to just 3 points, right on the verge of half time. A 45-degree angle. We're right behind this kick, already with one today. That was at the 14-minute mark of the second term. The kick on its way, it's out toward the right, it fades, but it doesn't come back enough as it clambers into the woodwork. So now it's Coorow's turn to be let off with a couple of easy shots. That one from Williamson, unlucky. Allowed for the breeze well, but just not well enough as Jones goes to the outer side with McLean providing the option and taking the mark. Goes short to the one-on-one, knock to the back. Numbers are in favour of the blue and white of Dongara. They go back to go forward. Burley's there, invited the pressure, gave it to O'Brien. He slams it on the boot toward the boundary and one bounce over the rope. There'll be a throw in. On the outer side, right half forward for Dongara, who trailed this game by just 8 points after being down by 29 at the start of the second. That's right, 29 points, now down by just 8. And they have owned this second term so far, the Eagles. It's close to the boundary line, though it's one away by Regan. Coker was in the middle. O'Brien laid the pressure. Eventually, they get the desired result, and that is the sanctuary of the boundary line. Centre wing, plenty of support for both sides. Good crowd in attendance here at Carnamah. Cars lined right around the precinct here as Coorow get the free kick, and running himself into trouble there was Cromer, who's then tackled and it's judged dangerous. He gets the free kick, goes short, bouncing ball, gets over the back, Hupping, advantage paid, then puts it up for Cox, overcooked it, went through his hands, falls out the back, holding the ball. And he's not happy about it either, Burley, as he's caught. As the halftime siren rings around Carnamah, a stellar second term from Dongara, where they put on 29 points. They trailed by 8 points after it was a 23-point margin at quarter time. At one point, they were out by 29 points, Coorow. That margin has been cut to just 8. At half-time in the North Midlands Grand Final for 2024, it's Coorow 6-8-44 to Dongara 5-6-36. Don't go anywhere. We've got a massive second half coming up right after this. Half-time here in the grand final for the 2024 North Midlands Football League, and at half-time it is currently an 8-point lead to Coorow. They led it by 23 at quarter-time, and at one point out by 29 points. Now back to just an 8-point lead at the main break, and I'm joined in the commentary box myself, James Gardner, for Filming Footy by Phil Stone, who's been involved with the Coorow Latham Magpies since 1972. Good afternoon, Phil. Welcome to Filming Footy.
Thank you, Jamie. Good to see you.
Likewise, and obviously a pretty slender lead. How are the nerves heading into the last half?
Yeah, no, they didn't take advantage of their chances in the first quarter. Obviously, they had plenty of chances to kick goals quite easy, and then they gave one away quite sillily in the after an easy mark in the square there. And yeah, I think they need to get on top this quarter because I think Dongara are quite fit and could possibly run out the game a bit better than us. Overall,
been a very good season for Coorow, finishing on top. You must be, so far, obviously you may not get the silverware, it's yet to be decided over the next half an hour of football, but you must be super proud of the club and the way that they've fought throughout the season.
Well, it's been hard work, Jamie, to get a side together. You know what it's like in the bush these days. You know, we import a few players and they become part of our club. And the sad part, that's just what's the situation in the bush now. We've got a good nucleus of our own players, all good players, but we just don't have the depth. And so we've hung in, and well, we're here today, so hopefully we can take it out.
Certainly, and for those who aren't aware, obviously we have a lot of interstate and international viewers tuning in today. It's great to have you all along. For those who don't know, where is Coorow, where's Latham, and you know, in proportion to the rest of the state?
Yeah, okay. Well, we're on the Midlands Road, 3 hours north of Perth, and Latham is 50 k's to the east of Coorow. And in 1971, in those days, it was Coorow and Latham was in a different league, and we decided to amalgamate. And it was a hell of an amalgamation. You know, not only the football, the netball, the hockey, the whole works went together, and it's been a really strong amalgamation. But back in those days, in 72 onwards, we probably had 40 to 50 to 60 players at training. Wow. Now they get about 10 or 12 if they're lucky. So lucky. That's how it's all gone.
Third term underway as the clearance is won by Mogridge, sends them to half forward for the Magpies. Their first foray forward, it's knocked to the back. First onto it was both, tried to hand it back, it's been a throw called. So for Coorow Latham, obviously you've got the hockey, the netball, the football. Just how much goes into not only a game day, but for the whole season? I suppose it just takes so much work for the volunteers like yourself.
That's exactly right, Jamie. The volunteers are few and far between now. I mean, you're getting people continually doing the same job for years on end, and then buttering up again 2 or 3 years down the track. So yeah, hard work, keeping it ticking along, and sometimes it's the player-driven to keep things going.
Sandals goes wide. There's been a free kick picked out. It's going the way of Leroy Hall on the outer side for Dongara, who have the momentum here in this game. They trail by 8 points. It's been an extraordinary comeback. Bedford almost held on to it, knocked to the front. Briggs came away with it. Out in front, Williamson. Just too quick and too strong, takes on the chest, rolls around. Kapler's one out in the square, thought about playing on, will instead go back and make a certainty of it. Paul Kapler got to the back. Just too quick there, the Dongara Eagles for Coorow. And now the chance to get them within just 2 points. Kapler dead in front. Dongara charging. And the Magpies are holding on for dear life at the start of the third.
I think we might have suffered an injury as well, Jamie. Young Reece John's got a knee in the hip by the look of it. Limping across the centre half back.
Just 2 points in it now, so for Coorow Latham, I suppose the history of the football club, obviously the amalgamation. Since then, how have you gone not only on the footy field but in the broader scheme of things with the footy and with the hockey and netball as well?
Yeah, hockey's been super, constantly playing in grand finals. And, you know, this
centre half forward for Coorow, slapped away to the front of the contest. We'll get back to that in just a second as D'Souza tries to bustle his way through. He came back to Hill. He was ripped off the footy, handed it back, and the trying to get their way out of it through handball, Dongara, and they may be overusing it slightly. Coker was shoved almost in the back there by Riley. Play on, said the umpire. Phillips offered support, handed it over the head. The skipper in Coker was there. Throws on the boot, went all of about 5 metres, and that's being generous to Stone. Handed it over the top. Bouncing ball comes away to McLean. Inside 50, almost a spiralling ball to the top of the square. Numbers with the Magpies off the shin, possibly. I thought it might have been a rush behind, and it was. Came off the shin of Stewart, and it's through for the minus score. So just slightly unlucky today so far, Coorow.
Yeah, there's a bit more desire there, a bit more intensity.
Sandals fought through a couple, was then held holding the ball. So early on, good signs for Coorow in this third term. At right half forward, it's with Hupping. Sends it to the top of the goal square. The double fist came out the front from Biggs. It's knocked towards the boundary line, and it's over and out. So your own involvement in the club, obviously starting in 1972. What's kept you involved for so long?
Jamie, I've played for till I was 37. And I coached in 81, 82.
In the meantime, the quick kick around was good, and the goal is scored by both. Back out to a hand in.
My job is to mind the scoreboard, mate. That's
It's an important job at that.
so that's the easiest job for me at the moment. Yeah. So my son's still out here playing. So
they get the clearance as well. D'Souza's almost caught. Did he get a boot to it? He didn't. Holding the ball. And for small towns like Coorow and Latham, big farming communities, how important is the footy, netball, and hockey to keeping the community alive?
Oh, it's very important, Jamie. Without it, we. This is like with football, sport, and all that sort of stuff. But then, same with your pub. If your pub folds, then your town dies. So sport's so vital to us. And it's such a struggle now. The farms have got bigger, there's more backpackers coming through the towns. They don't play footy, they're not your presidents, your secretaries, or your, they haven't got kids going to your school, so, it's getting harder and harder to maintain a football side and the rest of the sporting bodies.
So for Coorow, heading into the future, what is the key to your survival as a sporting organisation?
I mean, hopefully we'll get a few young guys leaving school and coming back to the farms. There's a couple of young guys to them from the city to help us out. So.
To the middle stages of the third term here in the grand final for 2024. Rayan Cox on the approach. The kick won't make the distance. It's to the teeth of goal. It's still in play. Dangerous ball here for Dongara to try and defend. It's out of bounds. And it's almost spilling into the front row of the crowd. And a very good contingent of support from just about every club today, whether it's in the hockey and the netball or the football, all stuck around and supporting and seeing what has been a fantastic game of football. Out the back it heads. Wrapped up without the man. Free kick going the way of Mogridge. Isaiah Mogridge takes the free kick dead in front. This would make things a little more comfortable for you, Phil.
Yeah, it would be handy. Help consolidate things a bit, but they've just got to keep it up. It's cooling down a bit, so maybe that'll make
Mogridge never is
feel
out.
better.
Straight over the goal umpire's hat. They extend the lead out yet again. The Magpies. They've kicked 2 straight here in this third term.
Hey, Ree.
And they are now starting to roll. 15 points the margin. 57 plays 42. 7.5 minutes gone here in the third.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen when you don't have those kids, farmers' sons coming back. You know, they need to be coming back to bring a few of their mates from the city to come back and play. They'd have to pay them, of course. But when you have a nucleus of players all pull out in one go, all of a sudden you can't replace them.
Sandals with the clearance to the outer side into the path. Phillips was there. Beating him to it was Turner. Socketed in front of him. In front was Borrett. Tried to keep it in front. Handed it away to Phillips. Said it's your problem to deal with now. Tight ropes the boundary. Out in front, Kapler, who's already kicked one in this quarter. Kicked the first of the third. Handed it back into trouble and a nice hip and shoulder against Farmer. Rolls over and out. And so this game's starting to go up a notch. 15 points the margin. Coorow Latham with a nice lead, but they would be pretty still unable to be really comfortable with it as it comes to Hall, who then spots the kick up. Williamson, it was through his hands. Well defended, and they come away. Scrivener. Post, possibly just floated across the top of the post, so a little bit of a breath of relief there, sigh of relief coming from all Coorow Latham supporters, because really Coorow should have been further ahead after that first quarter, missed some valuable opportunities.
Yes, but they're hanging there, Jamie. They're not folding back. They're staying in the game. That's the main thing.
14 points to the good of the Magpies, who have led from the first minute of the game, when the first score of the board came from both. Comma kicked 3 in that first term and then kicked a ripper at the 18-minute mark of the second as well, to the right of screen up against the boundary. Hill slapped it wide. Trapped it, knocked it further afield, trying to barge his way through. McGuinness caught, holding the ball. And then it's on for young and old now. There's a bit of a push and shove. Players coming from everywhere to fly the flag. A lot of passion in this contest. Umpires coming in to try and break things up. Neither side willing to give in easy, as you'd expect in a grand final. Free kick.
Obviously a dangerous tackle, Jamie.
Yeah, thought it might have been just holding the ball. Looked good from here, but umpire didn't see it that way. Williamson had 3 to beat, stood in the middle of them, got over the head of him. Tracking back, Kapler dove on top of it in the end and had a little bit of a case to answer for. Umpire took pity on him, called for a stoppage. Almost dead in front of goal here for the Eagles, kicking to the right of screen in this third term. We're locked in a side arm wrestle, both on the scoreboard and in general play. Since the start of the second, it has been really Dongara's game, but they're behind on the scoreboard by 14 points, and Coorow Latham aren't going to give up the lead that easy. D'Souza tried to get his way through, wrapped up. What would a premiership mean to the small communities of Coorow and Latham if they were able to bring home the premiership tonight?
Every premiership you win, Jamie's, means a fair bit. I mean, some would say it's probably devalued.
you often don't see. Pay Drummond just probably took one or two steps too many. And the ball goes back the way of Coorow Latham.
Good chase by young Matty McLean. I mean, he was well out of it. Ran him down. That's good.
McLean at right half back. Goes along the broadcast side into a nest of Eagles players, although it beat them all. As it spills to the back, Hall handed it back in turn to Phillips. He then went wide to the run of McInnes. He went inboard to Warden, handed it back out to Phillips. He's under pressure here, McInnes. Caught, holding the ball. Great tackle came from Nick Comer. The pressure elite all day from Coorow as he plays on immediately. Comer goes inboard. Nice chipping ball. Mark taken by Hupping. Sends it wide looking for Modric, who takes it off the bounce. Puts it inside 50. It was to the advantage of Borrett for the Eagles. Couldn't hold on to the mark. The cavalry arrived and he was able to support. Handed it back in turn. Marston just threw it on the boot in hope. Bouncing ball. Comer already with 4. Here's 5 coming up. He's got a Michelle Pfeiffer. And Coorow take the lead again. Out to 20 points. Comer with 5. 9 for Coorow. And they're starting to really make the Eagles hurt on the back of turnover.
Nicky Comer's a late addition to the side. Jamie came up with my son as a mate. He played 3 seasons with Essendon.
Wow, yep. Been a handy inclusion today.
Very handy, mate, yep.
5 goals, and that's up there with one of the better ones.
Yep.
20 points. Does the confidence just lift a little bit?
No. Well, the fact that it's cooling down a bit sort of makes you feel a bit better because it was getting a bit hot there prior to half time. But you always find you get a second win after half time if you're keen about wanting to win a game.
And they certainly are as players dive on top. Sandals was there. D'Souza also hanging around. Comer tried to get through a couple. Umpire happy to ball it up in front of the Dongara bench. Left half forward here for Coorow with a slight breeze here, favouring the left of screen. Wrapped up again on Broad. And for the North Midlands, the future and prosperity obviously made up of a lot of small farming communities, yes, with Dong.
Graded. So that's a free kick.
Get away from the point, Phil, but
no, it's all good, mate.
They do need, I suppose you need the players coming in and players developing in these farming communities.
Yeah, like I said to you earlier, Jamie, it's just with farms getting bigger, you don't have the numbers, like I said, with the backpacker situation. Well, none of them play footy, sadly. Occasionally, again, Irishman might have a go. But yeah, it's a battle, and I'm thinking that's Australia-wide. It's not just here. I mean, you go to the wheat quarter and eastern wheat belt and all that sort of stuff. They have the same problems. So and we're in an area that's hard to attract players. I mean, Dongara get players from Geraldton, Three Springs get players from Geraldton. So do Coorow. We get ours from Perth, obviously.
Yep.
Oh, a nice mark.
Good mark taken out in front by Cox. He was called to play on, took half a step, and that was enough for the umpire to call it. Out in front, Comley. Right place, right time for Jacob. He rolls immediately. Mogridge was there, overcooked it. He burnt him. And in the end, away, Biggs. Screws it inboard. Dangerous ball into space. Farmer had one eye for the footy, one eye for the man. Did well putting his body on the line. He'll get it back from the 1-2. Puts them inside 50. Cox will fly and he'll take the mark on the chest. Great play from young from Keenan Farmer. Put his body on the line, no regard for his own health and safety. Won the footy, gets it inboard, and now Cox lines up to add to this margin for a 23-point lead. Looks okay, and it's there. Cox has a couple, and Coorow Latham really starting to gain the ascendancy here in the third term. That's now 4 straight goals in this third to Dongara's 1. And since time, I don't know what the message would have been, but Coorow Latham have come out firing. 10-10-70, play 6-7-43.
They're kicking it.
Points themselves, Coorow Latham. Cox, he's sniffing another one. Was he taken
high?
high?
I think.
He was. Ducked the knees. He played for the free kick, but the umpire fell into the trap. High tackle, and from the exact same spot in which he had the last one, Brian Cox can go back for a third. And his second in a matter of moments. Directly in front, wind at his back to make things that little bit harder for the Eagles to come back from. After they went down and out at half-time, the Magpies are swooping. And as we enter time on, you would think they have one hand on the cup. They entered as favourites, and they are showing why. It is now 5 goals on the trot from the 4.5 minute mark to the 21 minute mark of this third term. It has been all the way of Coorow. So I suppose then for country football as a whole, what needs to happen from higher up with the AFL and WA country footy, what needs to happen to make sure that these small clubs like Coorow survive?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about money, Jamie. We have to raise the money to pay these young fellas that come and play for us, and we don't pay big money either. But it's all about community effort to raise the money. And I don't know whether the AFL are at all interested in what's happening out in the bush. I know they pick up occasional player, like for instance, young Logan McDonald's a 4th generation Coorow Latham footballer. So he's with Sydney now, and but I don't know whether. We saw Perth, they came up and supported our vote night the other night.
Cox's kick across the face, Mogridge takes the mark, plays on.
No, he's missed it.
Misses it, just hit the belly of the ball, maybe rushed himself a little too much. But you are right, I suppose, like Logan McDonald, 4th generation, his family have been involved in the club a lot.
Yeah.
So how rewarding is it then for a club like Coorow to see one of their young stars on the big stage?
Yeah, no, I texted young Logan today before his game. But, we don't get any reward from, I mean, he's been all around all over the state with his dad, as a school teacher, but he's a 4th generation Coorow Latham player. And prior to that, we had Gary McDonald, who played in state centreman for WA years ago. Alan Reid from Latham played for Essendon and Geelong and East Fremantle. So there's been a few come out of the district, probably 5 or 6. Ian Thompson's another one from Marchagee, which is south of Coorow. They've, but I don't know whether we'll be any more of those sort of players will be coming from there.
Yeah.
Because we just haven't got the depth to give these. We don't have a juniors program much anymore, and we don't obviously haven't got a B grade to keep the players interested, and so the depth is the thing. We started with 26 players this year. Within after 2 games, you have 5 injuries, and all of a sudden you're battling to put a side out there.
McLean from outside 50 will put it to the top of the goal square. Dangerous signs here. Coker came from behind with the spoil. Fell. D'Souza almost trapped it. Ended up just sitting on the footy. Then stood and whistle blew. Probably marginally late. Got a stoppage directly in front of Coorow Latham's goal. Riley slaps it to the back. Cox round the body. Classy finish. Classy player.
Point.
Misses.
So yeah, I don't know, Jamie. Well, I mean, like I said to you earlier, if we have a group of players leave at all at the same time, 4 or 5 of our locals, well, it's a real struggle then to replace them. And then you really can't afford to be paying more than 3 or 4 players at a time. And some of the leagues, some of the clubs don't like it. But what do you do without us in the comp? Well, you'd be playing yourselves.
Yeah. And as sad as it is the reality for many country football teams like Coorow. And if there aren't solutions to the problems within the next little while, it could spell trouble.
I don't know, to be quite honest. I'm sure they look at it and try and work out what they can do to help, but I'm not sure.
Drummond was knocks late, and it'll be a down the ground free kick. They desperately need at least one before 3/4 time, you would feel, Dongara. They've kicked just 7 points in this third term after they cut the lead back to 8 points. It's now ballooned back out to 35. Sandals to left half forward, out into the path. Bouncing ball, will it sit okay for Corrick? It did. He puts it inside 50, floating back with a nice bit of courage was McLean. Knocked it back, and they're able to leave it away, but it's going to come back through the guys of able to stay at the top then for so long. I mean, 2022 was your last premiership.
Yes.
Now 2 years later, you're back into at least another grand final, looking like you will add another to that.
Yes.
Touch wood. But why is it that Coorow have been able to stay so strong despite these problems, and the fact that, Three Springs and Dongara are a lot closer to Geraldton, able to attract players from there? And so what is the secret to success?
Oh, we do get players from further away than just Coorow and Latham, and we get a couple, like young McLean, for instance, comes up from Coorow. Well, he's a lot closer to Temora than he is to Coorow, but they want to. We have it. Well, I guess we've got a culture that makes the players want to come and play for us. So, that's about all I could say. Really, it's we look after them when they come up, and we treat them as our own. So,
Bedford with the chipping ball to Corrick, got the handball back, caught napping the Coorow defence, spoils it towards goal. Williamson on the lead, knocked away from him, roved his own footy, sold a bit of candy, a little bit too much in it, handed away, gave it to Broad, who has a flying shot at goal, not going to get the journey, knocked to the front of the contest, and then knocked through cleverly, although it hits the behind post, so we'll get a boundary throw in. 35 points the margin. If Dongara get one last late one here, it could make things interesting heading into the last. Trying to track it away. Phillips screws it around the corner. Farmer was in the way, playing the goalkeeper role. Rushes it over for a minor score. We wind around towards 3/4 time, and it's been a domination from Coorow in this third term. 5 goals to the Magpies. After their lead was trimmed to 8 points, they've led just about all day. Although the kick wasn't fantastic, opens the door for Drummond. He handed it back. This time nice now for Kapler. Already got one. Good pressure came from McLean as the siren sounds for 3/4 time. 34 points the margin in favour of the Magpies off the back of a dominant third term led largely by Cox and Comma. They head to the last change with one hand on the cup for 2024. Will they be able to run away with it? Will Dongara come back? Let's hope so if you're an Eagles supporter, and for the sake of the game, we'll be back right after the break with the final term in the 2024 North Midlands Grand Final. Welcome back as Stone just about puts the icing on the cake for Coorow Latham with the opening goal of the last. They're starting to now skip away, the Magpies, after they led by 34 at half-time. They're now out by 40 points, 84 plays 44 at the beginning of the last, inside the opening minute. Welcome back to grand final day here in the North Midlands. James Gardner in the court, and they can almost start the celebrations. Inside 50, Williamson leads out, takes the mark on the lead out in front. Dale Williamson hasn't had the day he would have hoped for, kicks 1-1. Lining up for his second. And to put it back to 34 points. From just inside the paint of 50, gets plenty of hang time. And there's just a bit of hope left for Dongara. 34 points the margin. Williamson with his second. Scoreboard rolls over. 84 plays 50. 2 minutes gone here in the last. Off the back of some good midfield work, the clearance, Williamson got the big mitts out in front, and there was no way that he was going to be stopped. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage so far. Still plenty of football to be played here in season 2024 for the North Midlands. Warden's tried hard all day for the Eagles, likewise Sandals, who goes in, collects his own footy and then wrapped up by a couple. Get a ball up. Oh, not quite. Misses. Away to the near side, just didn't get any purchase on the footy. And so the scoreboard is just 1 point extra added to it. 85 plays 50. Dongara need something, nothing short of a miracle here. They need 6 unanswered goals to be in front. Possible, but the probability of it slim. They need to start winning their own share of footy as well, particularly in the back half. De Souza, been good today. Handed it to Both, who was then caught, and it's going to come back to De Souza. 35 points is the margin. 4.5 minutes almost gone here in the last. Puts it inside 50. Cox had a good sit. Went over the back of him. Out the back, mark taken. Stewart just sends it straight up the spine. Rolling, last roll of dice, really you feel for Dongara. If they're to win it, they're going to need to take every risk and make every post a winner. Williamson led the chase, was possibly caught without it, wanted the free kick, none was forthcoming. Handballed it back, Broad with the strength, handed it away into space, into the path. Corrick, able to spin around and then put it into the space of that man in Kepler. He's got one to beat, and it's McLean who took him high after he had his head over the footy. Going to be a free kick to Paul Kapler. The last goal scorer for the Eagles, which was at the 2-minute mark of the third term, is going to come off with a blood rule, it looks like, and so free kick's been passed on to Bo Phillips. At right half forward for Dongara. Man on the mark is standing about 53 from home, so probably 2 kicks away from goal for Phillips. The breeze has dropped here in the last half, particularly since three-quarter time. He goes into the pocket. Lots of numbers around this. It spills to the back. One last hope, possibly for Dongara. Across the face, missing. So, Williamson kicked Dongara's last at the 2-minute mark of this quarter. Before that, it was Kapler. Williamson broke the run of 6 unanswered goals for Coorow Latham. Extraordinary momentum after Dongara had it all in the second quarter, but really, apart from the second, Dongara haven't fired a shot. Williamson, a little slow to go onto it, got onto it and then was pushed in the back by Farmer. Man on the mark will stand 49 metres from home. They're going to be right behind this kick. Don't reckon he's got the journey. He plays on to get the extra meterage. Gave it a good ride, but it's falling short and it was left and Bedford was in front. Couldn't hold on to it. Knocked out of play. Boundary throw in. Tossed back into play. Williamson to do the ruck work against Regan. Took front position. Knocked to the front of the contest. And roved his own footy. Wrapped up. Ball up. Still time. And a little bit of hope as Williamson from mid-air had a flying shot at it. Missed the lot. Never looked likely. It's away. And it's no score. Instead, out of bounds on the full. Nonetheless, a great story for Dongara in their 50th year in the North Midlands. They were wooden spooners last year. They had 1 win. They've now made it from 4th into a grand final. They did it the hard way. And at half-time, they were a real chance at pinching the cup. Trailing by just 8 points. At one point, they were down by 29, and it's now out to 35. Into the middle it goes with Riley. Had to stop and prop, gave it to D'Souza. There's been a throw called. Going back to Bo Phillips, who put the pressure on. He's been solid, particularly in defence for Dongara today, Phillips. He goes wide to Coker, the skipper. He would be disappointed but still proud with how his team's performed today. McGuinness up against the boundary. One last prize, possibly. Bedford was there. Couldn't hold on. Drummond, rather, couldn't hold on. And so it goes out of bounds. Boundary throw in. In attack for Dongara, who have had majority of the ball inside their forward half in this last quarter, but they just cannot score. Spills loose. Stone was flung around. Got the handball away out into space. Bedford trapped it well. Wants to get onto the right foot. He did so. The kick wasn't fantastic though. Let himself down to D'Souza. Caught high. Umpire had no hesitation in calling that one as the ball comes away. Dongara able to chop it off though as Borrett wheels around onto the right. Williamson will fly. Came from 3 deep. Almost held onto it. Barging his way through was Corrick, who then got clear. Has a shot on goal. Misses the lot. And so Dongara, if they could take their chances here, would be a real chance. But instead they are squandering them. As we near on 10 minutes gone, they're still trailing by 35 points. Not without their opportunities and chances though, Dongara. They're not quite out of this if they get the next couple in quick succession. Spills to the back, clever handball away, came players, gave it to Both. He then went further afield, looking for Laurie Both. He couldn't quite trap it, then eventually went back and got it. Handball inside was good to Jackson, to Comma. He handed over the top. Now Benson to put the icing on a very sweet cake. Gets away across the face, missing. Or only Makes it an even ball game, 36 points. So now it'll take 7 goals for Dongara to win it. I would have loved one goal. Nearly 11 minutes gone here in the last. Sandals has fought hard all day through the middle. The kick was okay. It's out into the path of Drummond. Bounce didn't favour him. Riley swept through. He was cool as a cucumber. Handed it back in turn. Got it to Farmer. To left half forward. In front was Benson. Knocked away by Coker. Spills to the front. Holding the ball called. Goes against Keith. To the advantage of Taylor, out wide, Hall takes it in front of the Nutrient Ag Solutions sponsorship sign. A booming kick forward from Bedford. Williamson had a couple hanging off him as he has all day. Spilt to the front, the screwing kick around. It will not get the distance, but it might run through. It was almost there for Wharton, but it's ran through by both. For the rush behind. Down to 35 points. "12 minutes gone. Time is starting to tick away for the Eagles. To the broadcast side, the Maggies' head coming through from behind McLean. Couldn't hold on to it through his hands. Out the back door. Hill throws it on the boot. Into the left forward pocket. A lot of interest around this from multiple Magpies. Bouncing away, Shannon McLean. He's done well in defence so far today. Go over the back. Almost the mark taken by Stone, and then coming in was Ruakia. A great day for not only the football grand finals, but also the hockey and the netball as well, and a good crowd in attendance. Cruising his way through was Moldridge, like a hot knife through butter. The kick wasn't great. D'Souza used his body well. Didn't quite read it well enough though, as it falls to Phillips. He screws it around to centre wing, pushing the back. Going to Wheeler. Centre wing. Neutral territory, broadcast side, nice chipping ball forward. Corrick wheels around, the JJ Clue medalist in the GNFL, looks for Williamson. Right against the boundary line in front of a strong contingent of Eagles supporters. It's a high up and under kick to the teeth of goal. It's knocked to the front, and the runners and crummers are there for the Magpies, although the handball's a little too hot for Comma. Open the door for Phillips, screws it around the body. Didn't get enough purchase on the kick. Out the front was Both. Handed it back to Riley, who was under pressure from the get-go. As Davis gets the free kick, and he'll need to be very quick here. He's not going to waste any time. Dead in front of goal, puts it over the goal on Pat. And maybe, just maybe, there's a little bit of hope for the Dongara Eagles. 15 minutes gone. 12-14, 86 for the Magpies. 7-9-51 the way. 8-9-57 now, sorry, the way of the Eagles. Nice finish there from Davis. First goal of the game since the 2-minute mark of this quarter. That was from Williamson. So they've kicked the last two here, Dongara. It's building somewhat of a bit of momentum, but their run may just be a little too late. The ball's again with Regan. Slams on the boot. Tumbling ball forward to centre half forward. It beat them all. Bounced on ends. Both threw it on the boot up towards full forward. It's then relieved away okay as Coker takes the mark. Wants to roll around immediately to the broadcast side. It's near the boundary. One bounce over. We'll get a ball in. Beautiful facilities down here at Carnamah. Thank you very much to the Carnamah Perenjori Footy Club for hosting today. And well done to the Shire of Carnamah for putting on today, along with all the North Midlands Footy League. A great spectacle indeed. It's not over just yet as McGuinness goes to the broadcast wing. Davis is there. Bounce. Favoured him eventually, although he then left it behind after he had it. Both was there representing the Magpies. He throws it on the boot. Mark taken. They can almost start switching into conservative mode. Inside 50 again for Coorow. It's been a whistle on play. And the umpire's calling for the footy. Get a stoppage. Inside 50 for Coorow, who won the toss, kicked to the left of screen, and now set themselves up with a very impressive opening stanza. Since then, it's been all Coorow as Cox on the left to finish the job off. Misses to the near side. Although the momentum did swing the way of Dongara in the second quarter, where they kicked 4 goals to 2. It was just 8 points at half-time in favour of Coorow. They were then able to extend that out to 34 points at three-quarter time, courtesy of 5 straight goals to end the third term after Dongara kicked the first at the 2-minute mark of the third. And from there, they've been able to hold on to this lead, which now sits at 30 points. 5 straight goals will get them even. Dongara, you sense it is a little bit of a tall ask, especially considering the way that Coorow are playing. It's a little bit of chill falls on Carnamah. Coker kept it in, looked for Phillips, knocked away by Regan, over and out. The boundary umpire will do it all again. Umpires have done a very good job throughout today. Been a good even spread of free kicks, and free kicks that have been called were there, and very few little touchy ones, and they've been very consistent. It's been great to see. McGuinness got the clearance, kicked it wide. Davies takes the mark, and a bit of cramp starting to set in as he gets up a little gingerly. Looks for the handball pass, decides to ignore that. Instead goes inside 50. Bedford on the lead, takes the mark on the chest. Talented young cricketer, Jeremy Bedford, will play on from outside 50. High up and under ball. It'll go right to the goal line. Bedford with a late highlight. A very handy goal there from Jeremy. Gets it to 4 goals. And as we enter time on, can the Eagles start to send a bit of a scare through the camp of Coorow? 24 points is the margin now. 87 plays 63. That's 3 straight goals now for the Eagles. You just feel, had their third quarter been just marginally better, they would be right in this contest. If they can get one quick one here, they'd be right in it. 20 minutes have gone. We're into time on. You'd expect there'd be a little bit of it. Do they believe it themselves? It starts in the middle. Can they win the clearance? Mogridge tried hard. Got it back from Riley, and then his kick was smothered away. Phillips, who's tried hard all day, tried to work his way through. Gave it to Hall. He went in, turn away to Borrett. Borrett along the out of side. Nice kick forward to Coorow. We know he's got a good leg on him. What's up forward for him? Not a whole lot. Has to go short to Sandals. Danced his way around one. Gave it back to Coorow. Has Phillips inside. Bedford was knocked away from him. Phillips to give them back the lead, to get it within 3 goals. Misses. One behind only. 23 points the margin. 21 minutes gone. This game has gone up a notch as Dongara have wrestled the momentum back. Could be a costly behind. Can they lock it in their 450 here? The Dongara Eagles. Flying from behind was Ruel Cree. And then the numbers are in favour of Dongara. Sandals is there. He does have support. Decides not to use it. Goes inside to Hall. Takes it above his head. Good mark. They need to be quick here. Has Bedford leading in one direction, Williamson the other. Decides to go the ladder. Williamson got over the back. Warden has a goal in front of him. And he kicks it. They're back within 3 goals, the Eagles. And they are charging. 4 on the trot for Dongara. Warden kicks a much needed goal. 70 plays 87. And if they didn't believe before, they certainly do now. 22 minutes gone in the last. Cracking game of football here in the North Midlands Grand Final for 2024. They have come from the clouds in this last. 4 straight goals. And they get the free kick from the middle. Callan Hill will send them into attack once more. To centre half forward. Standing tall at the front. It's knocked to the front of the contest. Davis is there. Kick wasn't fantastic. It's going to fall short. Davis wanted to make up for his mistake. Tried hard. Handball away was good there from Jones. They're still not out of jail just yet. Dragged it back in. Both. Umpire will relieve the pressure. You can feel the intensity lifting. 17 points. 23 minutes gone in the last. Hall with a quick kick away. Farmer will stop and prop and get rid of the less athletic Williamson and go short to Turner, who takes the diving mark, although the kick wasn't great. Slipped over at a critical stage, gave enough to get back onto his feet, gave it to Bedford, right dribbling ball forward. It's over the line, well defended, just panicking. The umpire says no, off hands. Well, we're 24 minutes into the last and we're still not 100% certain. You'd be a brave man to bet against Coorow, but the momentum that Dongara have built, it's hard to go against them. Sandals wrapped up by a couple. We'll get a stoppage. Left half forward for Dongara. There's plenty of numbers forward of the ball, just about every player in the forward half of Dongara. Davis will get the clearance, high up and under footy. Coker was caught behind, had to try and crumb his own footy. In the end, had no other option but to sit on it and call for the stoppage. Time not on Dongara's side. Williamson wants to get it clear. He does. Coker tried to shrug the tackle. Got it away. Hall was almost piggybacked by DeZoza. DeZoza went back and got it. Handed it out the back door. Both throws it on